Hey everyone, Dev Walker here and welcome back to my channel. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy travel, lifestyle, and fashion videos. I am back with another video. Today I am sharing a quick story time of how I transitioned from a financial risk analyst at a top tier investment bank to a full-time travel influencer and content creator while doing my everyday makeup routine because I'm about to go run some errands. In the beginning, content creation was actually not a dream of mine. This is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. Love this as a moisturizer and primer. So when I started creating content, I wasn't thinking about this being an actual career and full-time job. It was just something that I was doing that I just enjoyed while I was on my trips. This was actually a career path that I didn't actually sought after. It really kind of just fell into my lap. This is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer that me and a lot of other makeup girlies swear by. Now, for those of you who are curious about my previous job, I was a financial risk analyst at an investment bank that a lot of you may know by the name of JP Morgan Chase. Prior to making my transition, I was at JP for about 4.5 years, and prior to that, I held jobs at other investment banks such as Morgan Stanley and Citigroup. Now, while I was at my job in investment banking, I had dreams of climbing the corporate ladder just like everybody else, but after a while, that ladder started to feel like a hamster wheel. While I was working full-time, I was also taking about 10 trips per year. I know that sounds excessive, but in full transparency, I did have quite a generous amount of PTO while I was at JP. I got 8 weeks per year. So I was using all the long weekends, all the floating holidays, everything you could think of to get all of my PTO days out. I just did my brows with all Anastasia Beverly Hills products. I started with the brow gel, followed by the brow pen, and I filled it in a bit with the pomade. And now I'm going to clean up my brows with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Magic Touch Concealer in the shade 17. As I was taking these different trips throughout the year, I was posting on Instagram, but this was when Instagram was literally just for photos, y'all. Captions were not really that detailed. It was more so like whatever Drake or Nicki Minaj or Jay-Z lyric was trending at the time. As I was posting, I would always get these questions and comments asking me questions about the logistics of my trips, such as how much did it cost, who did I fly with, did I enjoy it, was it safe? You know, a lot of people were asking me questions that pertain to travel, which I really did not expect. For my base concealer, I'm using the Fenty Instant Retouch Concealer in the shade 450. So now it's about 2 years into my job. I'm getting all of these questions every time I post about a trip. The more I'm posting, the more questions and inquiries I'm getting, and I'm trying to answer everyone, but you know, as the audience grows, it does get a bit challenging. So I'm thinking to myself, where can I house all of the basic information regarding the logistics around my trip? So I thought, maybe I should start like a little blog. Again, no intentions on making money off of this, no intentions on going full-time. I really just didn't want to answer the same questions over and over again, y'all. So I started this little blog called walkwithmisswalker.com back in 2017, and I just wanted to keep all of the basic logistics of my trips and just my overall opinion and just sharing my experience as a black woman visiting these places. Along the way, I'm following other huge travel influencers. I'm following Jessica Nabongo, Spirited Pursuit, Onika Raymond, and I'm just thinking like, well, damn, they really made a career out of this. But at the time, they were at like 150,000 followers. I'm at my measly little 4,000 followers. So I'm just thinking, you know what? I'm not even going to try to get there. I'm just going to have fun with it and have my little corner of the internet to myself. Once again, not even thinking about going full-time. By the way, for my foundation, I'm going with the Amicole Skin Stick in the shade 220. I love this shade match, y'all. Do you see that? Because I don't. That is literally my complexion. So as my audience is growing, my blog traffic is growing, and I'm taking all of these trips, and I'm really helping people get the information that they need to have these fantastic experiences. One day I was really just sitting home editing a blog post, and I was just like, I really enjoy this. And it got to the point where I was enjoying working on my blog and working on drafting content more than I did my actual job. But like everybody else, your girl gotta pay the bills. So I wasn't just about to just see these other girls living this dream life and think that I could do the same. It just wasn't attainable for me yet. I knew that I was starting to love it. I was deeply enjoying it. But again, I just wasn't too sure if it was something that I wanted to do full time, even though I was really liking it. Now, keep in mind, I'm also watching people around me get laid off, get denied promotions while working tirelessly at this job. So it was also becoming taxing on my mental health, just trying to figure out, well, it's only a matter of time before my day was coming. And previously, I was also laid off from 3 corporate jobs prior to being at this job. Now I'm highlighting my under eye in that same Anastasia Magic Touch Concealer in the shade 17. Now this whole time I'm creating content, but I'm super comfortable at my job, 2-week paychecks, right? And the whole time, I have to be honest, looking back, I was more so afraid of a new beginning. I was really just so stuck on the idea of climbing the corporate ladder that I really didn't see anything else for myself. So what made me decide to take the leap? This is the liquid blush from Juvia's Place in the shade Lily Love. Love this neutral tone blush. Because even though I'm loving what I'm doing, I am really comfortable at my job. I'm comfortable with my salary. I'm comfortable with my PTO. I'm comfortable with my benefits. So what made me decide to go full time? I was actually forced out of my comfort zone, y'all. Let me tell you what happened. Since this is a quick makeup routine, I'm not doing any eyes today, so I'm just going to bring my blush up to my temple and over by my eyes since I'm not applying any eyeshadow today. Now I'm going to quickly set this with the Milk Hydro Grip Setting Spray. Love this. Now I'm going in with a quick sponge pass to take up any excess product. And now I'm about to set my highlight. I was going to use this Beauty Blender plush thing here, but I washed it earlier and it's not dry at all, so I'm not going to use anything wet. I'm going to just get an old dry beauty blender to apply my setting powder. This is the Fenty Beauty setting powder in the shade Cashew. I swear by this setting powder. Now while that's setting, I'm going in with some powder blush from Juvia's Place. This is the Saharan Blush Volume 1 palette, followed by a tiny bit of powder bronzer from Fenty Beauty in the shade Thick Mint, number 9. Now what happened was, in January of 2019, my entire department was pulled into a room and pretty much told that all of our jobs were being deployed from Jersey City to Delaware. Now what that meant for us was, if we wanted to keep our jobs, we had to move to Delaware on our own dollar. Pause for reaction. I know what you all are thinking. Yes, we had to pay for our relocation to Delaware if we wanted to keep our jobs. Absolutely crazy. And that to me was the universe telling me that it was time to move to the next stage of my life. For the lip combo, I'm going with the tried and true MAC Chestnut, followed by the lip glow oil from Ami Colé in the shade Bliss. Love this combination for fall. So of course I made the decision that I was absolutely not going to Delaware for quite a few reasons. It was so far away from my friends and family. It was not really a place that I desired to move to. No shade against anybody who lives in Delaware, but it was just too far, and with travel I would have had to either drive to Philly or come all the way back to New York every time I wanted to take a flight. So it just didn't really seem feasible for my lifestyle. So of course I had to make some very tough decisions and decided that I was going to pretty much quit my career in finance And since I was already doing something that I loved on the side, I decided to just bet on myself and take a risk and follow my passions for once. How gorgeous is this lip combo though? I love it. Finishing off with this Charlotte Tilbury finishing powder in the shade Deep 4. I am literally down to like nothing. I should probably go buy a new one of these today because I really love this powder. So with the announcement being made and the decision that I made to now transition and change careers, that was when I really started to take content creation seriously. If this was going to be my job, I was going to have to treat my blog and my social media like a job. So what did I do? I started putting in the same 8 hours that I did at JP Morgan towards my own business. And to keep all of this makeup on, I am going in with the One Size On Till Dawn finishing spray. This is the best finishing spray on the market. Your makeup will last all day and night with this stuff. And last but not least, I'm going in with a little bit of mascara from YSL Beauty. I always do this after I spray my face because I find that whenever I do it before, the mascara will actually like fall off and start running down my eyes and messing up my highlight, and I don't need that. So I just save my mascara for last. And so September 15th, 2019 was my last day at JP Morgan Chase. I walked out of that office for the final time that day, and I still remember it like it was yesterday, y'all. It didn't feel like another layoff. It felt like opening a new chapter to my life and closing an old one. So I put in the time, I put in the effort, I was consistent, I did the research, I spoke to people who was willing to talk to me, and I really just put the time in. I put the time in, I put the effort in, I put the work in, and my platforms just grew over time. Obviously, shortly after that, we all know that there was a global pandemic, so that pretty much put travel on hold for me and everybody else. But in the meantime, I was still working, I was still learning, I was still practicing, and by working, I mean I was working on, building my business and my brand. So while the world is on lockdown, I am still writing blogs, I'm still shooting content, I'm still editing old content, because this time I'm really taking things seriously. So I got my first paid partnership in 2021. It was for like $400, and I'm laughing at that now because I remember being so excited about making that $400 back then. But like I said, I just stayed consistent. This was not something that I sought after or went after. It really kind of just fell into my lap after I was pushed out of my comfort zone and pushed out of my damn job. And now here we are 5 years later, where I am a successful travel influencer and content creator. I worked with brands such as Delta, AT&T, Google, the Four Seasons, Hulu, just to name a few. And it probably would not have happened if I was not pushed out of that job. If I was not pulled into that room with everybody else, I probably would have stayed there for as long as I could and just been traveling part-time, and I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So that is the story of how I became a travel influencer and full-time content creator. And that is also my everyday makeup look. It didn't really take that long. Usually this takes me about 15 minutes at the most. But anyway, please drop your questions and feedback in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And if you've also made it this far, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.